Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to stage today's MC and the host of 89.9 FM WJCT's First Coast Connect, Melissa Ross.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone doing? Everybody a little chilly, maybe? I know I am, just a little bit. We'll try to heat things up. How about that? Good afternoon and welcome to the 17th Annual First Coast Business Hall of Fame. How about that? Yes. It is great to see so many good friends and familiar faces here today. I recognize quite a few of you. Many of you have been guests on the program I work on, First Coast Connect. Every day on that show, we discuss the important civic, business, and political issues of this community. And I've interviewed so many leading lights of the First Coast, many of you sitting right here in this room. And it really is a who's who of local business executives gathered here today. That's no surprise, of course, though, because we are here to honor 4 outstanding business and civic leaders as they are inducted as the class of 2015 into the First Coast Business Hall of Fame, a group known for honoring the business elite in Jacksonville. Now, like the First Coast Business Hall of Fame and its host, the Florida Council on Economic Education, at WJCT, our mission is to be a resource for citizens to come together to celebrate human diversity, for citizens to experience lifelong learning and engage in matters of civic importance, all to improve the quality of life in this community. And I'm proud to be a part of that, and I'm proud to be a part of today's program and represent this year's Hall of Fame media sponsor, WJCT Public Media. Now, if you look at the list in your program of past Hall of Fame honorees going back to 1999, you'll get a good idea of what a distinction it actually is to be inducted into this prestigious group. It is a really impressive list. In addition to honoring the 4 community leaders today, we are also here to help support a very important cause, personal finance and economic education for students. As we mentioned, the Hall of Fame is organized and sponsored by the Florida Council on Economic Education, a statewide nonprofit organization training teachers and students in free enterprise, economics, and financial literacy. Here to tell you more about the Florida Council on Economic Education, we welcome Nat Dolliner, Tampa office managing shareholder of Carton Fields, Jordan Burt, and chairman of the board of the FCEE.
Thank you, Melissa, and good afternoon, everyone. This year's event chair, Rob Clements of Everbank, has worked very hard to make this the 17th annual First Coast Business Hall of Fame a success, and he certainly has succeeded. In fact, this year's attendance is an all-time record. We are extremely grateful for Rob's leadership and generosity. At the last minute, however, Rob got called out of town on business, and so I am filling in for him today. As the board chair of the Florida Council on Economic Education, I'm delighted to be with so many business leaders in the First Coast community. This year is the Florida Council's 40th anniversary. It's been a year of great success for us, but we couldn't have done it without our friends and donors like you and our board members. At this time, I would like to recognize our board members from North Florida who give so much of their time, their wisdom, and their resources to the Florida Council. Jason Altmeyer with Florida Blue, Chris Oakley with the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, Jacksonville branch, John Hart of CSX, and Art Tate of Ocala Palms. These board members have helped to ensure that millions of students in Florida are educated in personal finance, free enterprise, and economics. Let's give them all a round of applause, please. I would also like to recognize the Center on Economic and Financial Education at Florida State College at Jacksonville. Because of the great work of this center and our other centers throughout Florida, 13,000 teachers from across the state have been educated just this year to become effective educators in financial literacy, free enterprise, and economics. Our children need financial literacy education. According to a recent survey by U.S. Bank, 65% of college undergraduates gave themselves a C, D, or F when asked if they believe that they have the skills to successfully manage their finances. In addition to handling their own money, today's students will be our nation's workforce in just a few short years. They will be your employees, our government officials, and our children's teachers. They will be the driving force behind our nation's economy, whether or not they are ready. The dreams of this generation are not much different than your dreams or my dreams when we were at their age. But please don't take my word for it. Let's hear it from the students themselves.
I'm saving up money right now to eventually buy a car.
Saving up for school when I'm older.
Everybody has that dream of like having a house, a car, a family. That costs a lot of money.
I just really want to be able to stand out there, keep my family safe, be very stable.
If you don't have a financial plan, you can't plan your future out.
I mean, I'm 17 now, I'll be 18, so, I'll be out the house and trying to live my own life. So, it's very important that you learn how to balance a checkbook, and how to manage your field of life so that way you can know how to live when you get older.
I think it is important to learn finances when you're young, because then when you grow up, it'll be way easier to go out and say, today I think I'll make some money by investing.
People think that teenagers don't really need to understand, but I can vote next year in the next election.
You learn how to navigate your money. You learn how to spend your money, and you learn how to save your money.
I save a lot more now. I realize what I want and what I need are two completely different things, and I only focus on what I need at that moment.
We're learning about opportunity costs and just how I'm going to spend a free period. Do I watch TV on Netflix or do I do my homework? That's a big issue, and most kids don't realize that that's an economic principle.
Economics means to me the power to control my own finances.
Sometimes you have to be a risk taker. Sometimes you gotta invest your money into something. Sometimes that's how you kind of find yourself.
Economics is just something that makes sense. You can take these principles and you can apply them to real life, and you can say, well, this is how it's affecting these people here, and you can just see all the connections.
You learned at a younger age, so then it will travel with you, and then you'll be able to balance everything when you get older.
In Florida, that is a great video. In Florida, as in most states, we don't teach nearly enough students about the fundamentals of personal finance and what they need to know in order to make critical financial decisions. That needs to change. Research shows that high school graduates who took one personal finance course will have a net worth 80% higher than those students who did not receive similar training. Our mission at the Florida Council is to train teachers in the fundamentals of economics, free enterprise, and personal finance so that they can prepare our students and your future employees to succeed in an increasingly complex and competitive world. Thus, the motto of the Florida Council, train one, teach thousands.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better myself. And I think one of the best things about the FCEE is that while it may be a statewide organization, it understands that education happens on a local level. That's why they partner with 5 centers for economic education around the state. The professional educators and professors at each center provide teachers with training and resources free of charge that they then take back to the classroom and implement with their students and fellow teachers. And one of the newest and most exciting centers is right here on the First Coast at Florida State College at Jacksonville. I'd like to introduce Dr. Susan Riley, Director of FSCJ Center on Economic and Financial Education. Dr. Riley is here. She's instrumental in providing resources, programs, and training to teachers throughout Clay, Baker, Nassau, St. Johns, and Duval counties in partnership with the Florida Council.
And Melissa, next year, the Florida Council looks forward to building even more on the strong relationships with the local business community in the First Coast area, and also the Center on Financial and Education at FSCJ, Financial Education at FSCJ, and the critical mission of training teachers in these vital subjects. Dr. Susan Riley is a great educator and innovator, and she's put together a wonderful team of faculty who are teaching our students in these financial literacy subjects. But she'll be the first to tell you that it's challenging being a teacher these days, and we hear it all the time. More and more demands placed on teachers, and less time and limited budgetary resources.
And that's why, in addition to providing free professional development training to teachers, the Florida Council also has an extensive list of programs and resources that are offered to teachers at no cost. On the screen right now are the FCEE signature competitions and programs, and each one of these is explained in greater detail in the booklet at your table. Now, the Florida Council is a public-private partnership between educators and the business community. It receives no state or federal funding. And it's events like today's Hall of Fame and collaborations with other local, state, and national partners that fund these initiatives so educators can focus on what's really important, which is teaching. Now, speaking of generous support, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors here today, including Raymond James. Since the First Coast Business Hall of Fame began 17 years ago, Raymond James has been a presenting sponsor. Right now, let's welcome Amy Boggs, Senior Vice President of Investments with Raymond James at Ponte Vedra, to tell us more about that.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm a huge fan. Congratulations to the new inductees of the First Coast Business Hall of Fame and to the legacy of all members of the Hall of Fame. Raymond James is proud to be a presenting sponsor again this year. Support for the First Coast Business Hall of Fame and the Florida Council on Economic Education is representative of our core values, which includes the importance of providing a financial education. In fact, Tom James, our founder, is a past chair of the Florida Council and remains very active today. As Melissa mentioned, the Florida Council provides year-round competitions for students, and Raymond James is also proud to be the lead sponsor of the Florida Stock Market Challenge. It's a statewide competition that gives students $100,000 of play money in hypothetical funds that they can invest in the financial markets as they see fit. This competition not only offers lifelong lessons in investing and understanding how the free enterprise system works, but also reinforces team building, communication, and research skills. Last school year, over 25,000 students from across Florida participated in the challenge. And for so many, it is a life-changing experience. Of course, Raymond James is not alone in our support of this year's event. So I would like to take just a moment to recognize all the generous companies and individuals that have helped make this 17th annual First Coast Business Hall of Fame a tremendous success. FIS, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Raymond James. Platinum sponsors, Brooks Rehabilitation, Everbank, Florida Blue, Haskell, ViStar Credit Union, and Michael Ward. Our gold sponsors, Bear State Financial, Drummond Press, Jacksonville University, Public Supermarkets Charities, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and Jack Ubel. Additionally, we would like to thank all of the many corporate sponsors which you can be found on page 27 of your event program. On behalf of Raymond James, we are proud to lend our support and also to celebrate this year's First Coast Business Hall of Fame inductees. And now I'd like to introduce David Boyd, Executive Director of the Florida Council on Economic Education, who will deliver the invocation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for being with us today as we honor the class of 2015 of the First Coast Business Hall of Fame and celebrate our shared commitment to preparing Florida's young people for personal and financial success by giving them the tools they need to manage their money, the knowledge necessary to achieve their financial goals from college to retirement, and the skills to become our business and civic leaders of tomorrow. Would you please pause with me now for our invocation? Creator God, as we gather here today, we give thanks for this opportunity to come together as a community. We are especially thankful for the contributions of today's honorees and the members of the First Coast Hall of Fame before them, for they have made our community stronger and laid a foundation upon which future generations can build. Let us be ever mindful of opportunities to serve one another and honor their legacy as we continue to strive to make a better world. May this meal and the fellowship we share nourish us and inspire us to honor the peaceful, nurture the fragile, empower the impoverished, and sense wonder in the ordinary. Amen. Please enjoy your lunch, and we'll be back with the induction ceremony in just a short while.